Welcome to the ZEM GOES USA Talkshow, a global live stream where we follow the TU Ecomotive team on their journey. Exclusive content, live Q&A, and the latest news. And today I will be joined by Ellen Heap from the Coast to Coast Foundation, Bart van Gravenhoff from TU Eindhoven, Twan Jonkman from CET, and Philip van Velen from the TU Ecomotive student team. We will also establish a live connection to many more speakers and of course our reporter on location, Luc van Ooyen, who will update us on the tour. The TU Ecomotive team will wake up extra early to answer all your questions, so join us. Let's step into the future of sustainable mobility. Welcome to the second episode of the ZEM GOES USA Talkshow. We're doing 3 episodes. The first one started, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we talked about what the team in America was going to do. And today it's the road so far, because they've been in there for like 3-4 weeks, if I'm saying that right. So we're going to check in with the team. We have partners to talk about. We're going to dive into the technical stuff. And if there's anything you want to talk about, please let me know. Because on the right side of your screen, you see a comment section where you can ask us questions, give us topics to talk about, anything you want to know. Please let us know. Let us know from where you're watching. Is it good morning? Is it good evening? Yeah, we like you to participate in the live stream. Without further ado, I'm going to check in with the team in America first, because I think our reporter on location, Luc van Ooyen, who's sipping the last bit of coffee right now, is here.
Hi,
there they are.
Good morning.
I love your shirt. I love your shirt. So it's pretty early for you two, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 7 in the morning right now, so we all just woke up.
Nikki, you're still in need of a pretty large coffee?
Yes.
Yeah. We all just have our coffees here.
And where are you right now?
We are at the moment in Carmel at Richard's place. And we're going to visit some high schools and some middle schools and some elementary schools today with the car to show them the car.
All right. And so he's in the woods or something, I can see.
Yeah.
It's in a valley. So it's very pretty. We have to look out on the valley on this side, and then there's the woods that side. It's very pretty here.
All right. And actually, we introduced Richard Tavener on the first episode. You guys are staying at his house, which is so friendly of him because you are like with a team of 15, I guess. So how has it been over there? Is he a good host?
Yeah, the amazing host. Like we get everything what we want and even more. So he's an amazing host. We can we have nothing to complain.
All right. Well, perfect. And Nikki, one more question, and then I'm gonna leave you guys to just wake up on your own on your own accord. The best thing so far. What's the best memory you made so far over there?
Oh, that's a hard one. I really have to think about that actually, because we did so much, and I think everything had its own impact. But really recently, we had the meeting with NXP, and I think that was one of our highlights. The people at NXP were so excited and were very enthusiastic about ZEM. We got to present there 2 times for 2 facilities. It was very cool.
All right, nice. And we actually have a lot of footage from you guys traveling as well. Yeah, you walked through parks, you went to cities. So it's also kind of a tourism tour over there. So yeah, we'll check in with you later on the webinar. If there's any good experience to share with us that you haven't heard talk us about, please let us know. So go enjoy your coffee, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye. So that's the team in America. We're here in The Hague in the Netherlands. So I don't see any of the viewers telling me where they are right now. So please, in the comment section, tell us from where you are watching, because we just want to know. It's fun. So yeah, to the speakers, I guess. I'm joined here at the table by 2 people. I'm joined here by Ellen Heap from the Coast to Coast Foundation. Ellen, we have actually spent the whole weekend together at the
EV experience in Zandvoort.
In Zandvoort, where how do you call it? Like the racing track?
The racing track, and we drove around with, I don't know, 8,000 EVs all around the racing track. So it was great fun.
Yeah, because Ellen is also from the Dutch Association.
Electric Vehicle Drivers Association, we officially call it. Yeah.
So you must be stoked about cars as well, and you've been to America.
Certainly, I was in America. I've been there with them for 2.5 weeks, so I know the place where they are at Richard's. Richard is an excellent host, I can tell you, because they even learned them how to make their own pizzas. So
Oh, really?
yeah, making your own car also means that you have to make your own food. And they stayed there, I think, for 2 or 3 nights. So it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, you're actually going to take us through the whole photo album of your phone, like all the pictures and all the places you went to.
Yeah.
And across from you is Twan Jonkman from Seed. I said it wrong in the intro. You corrected me. It's Seed. And it's a 3D printing company, right? Maybe a short introduction of the company.
Basically, we are a machine builder, so we build the 3D printers. And as it's a new technology, especially on this scale, we usually help the work field implementing this system in their ways of producing parts. So that way, we also do some printing services. At this moment.
Yeah, and I think 3D printing is becoming more and more the regular normal thing to do. I actually went to a game store last week, and they were 3D printing materials for board games. So you see it more and more. Is it in the world of cars? Is it something that's happening, or is this actually the first car you've ever 3D printed?
I think it's the first car that is completely 3D printed. I think the University of Maine a few years ago printed a boat, but I have never seen a fully 3D printed car. So I think I can say that the ZEM is the first one driving around the world.
Yeah.
So it's up and coming.
Yeah,
it's
we're actually
definitely hot right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I'm pretty curious what the industry has to say when they see this car. Maybe we should start 3D printing. I can see how that's viable. Well, actually, you're here together with Philip, who is here online to talk about the technical stuff. Maybe a short introduction of you as well, Philip. Hi, Philip. You're in the Netherlands.
Hello, everyone. Yeah. I'm sitting in Deurne in the office now. I'm doing my internship right now. Don't tell my boss, but I'm on his time.
All right, we'll be very quiet, but you're wearing headphones, so that's fine. So, Philip, maybe a short introduction of your role within the TU Ecomotive team. What was your part to play?
Yeah, so my name is Philip, and I was chief design, which means I was responsible for everything that basically the eyes and the hands can touch. So I'm not a super hardcore technical guy like the people who made the monovlog. Shout out to Ivan. Also, I had a fantastic team helping me out. Shout out to Rien, Max, and Duco. And it was just a really special occasion because I'm a car nut. I'm a design nutcase. I sketch all the time, and now was the time to make it happen, make the dream come true, and also not just build a car, but build a fantastic team. That was a very nice experience.
Yeah, cool. And so you're in your boss's time, so feel free to go to work at the same time. We can see when you're here. All right. You guys are more like the technical part of things. So I'm going to give people some time to actually ask some questions in the chat. So if you have any technical question about the car, about the design, where Philip comes in, anything you want to know about ZEM, please let us know so we can talk about it. Anything about 3D printing, because I don't know anything about 3D printing, so I'm going to be asking questions as well. And for now, the last guest we have online here as well is Bart van Grevenhof from TU Eindhoven. Bart, what was your role within the whole project? I believe you went to America as well, right?
Yes, I had the honor of joining the team as well in the West Coast for the first time they were on the West Coast. And basically I was a sounding board for them from the TUE. Still, there were 13 students there, I think, traveling there. So it's important for the TUE to observe their learning curve there up close, and honored to be there with them.
Yeah, and I'm really curious, from your perspective, what was something that really stood out in your experience in America? What was something, the best experience or the most surprising experience?
Most surprising, the ease with which the team was able to transfer their core message to all kinds of different people, from royalty to high school kids, and from industry leaders to fellow students from American universities. So demanded a lot from them, but yeah, they had a good run there while I was there.
Yeah, and is this the first team you joined, or have you been doing this for multiple teams?
I did this before for my previous job at the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences, but this was the first time for me to travel with the TUE team. And I must say that their emphasis on technology and the innovativeness makes it a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is your favorite part of the whole technology side of things, or the car itself?
I think the combination, they basically provide a platform with all these different cutting edge technologies, and they show industry really what is possible. So I think it's the combination of all the different technologies that makes it so special.
Yeah, I think that's as well, because most people I talk to are just blown away by the fact that it filters CO2, is 3D printed. There's so much things to like about the car. It's the whole thing. Well, thank you. We're gonna come back to you as well. But first, we're gonna go through the photo collage of Ellen Heap from the Coast to Coast Foundation, because we brought a whole lot of pictures for you that you actually sent to us, and I'm gonna turn my laptop towards you.
Yeah.
So you can walk us through all the places you guys have been to. Take the floor, Ellen.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. Yeah, it was so nice to see the team alive and kicking at Richard's Place. We have been doing since there was a little problem with the car being stuck in the port of New York. We sort of had to make changements in the tour of the car. So what we did on the West Coast was we had to visit the car without. We had to visit the public without the car. So, but the team was extremely flexible, and they made this lifelong banners of the car. So they did a tremendous job. At this photo here, you see their visit to UC Davis. UC Davis is on the automotive part one of the best in the US, and they are about to start a student team on a sort of real big challenge in the US. So I think they helped them quite a lot, and they will visit US Davis within a couple of days. So I'm very curious. They've heard the story, how they will respond to the car itself. So if you go to our next, we've got more pictures. Oh yeah, this one is really nice. We started off like with a sort of, this is at the Giants Stadium in San Francisco. And we were there with all the Brainport t-shirts, the PSV t-shirts, which was really nice because, there were, 40,000 spectators there, but you could see from a distance the sort of Eindhoven League, which was really nice. There was even this guy, a US, tell me.
Where's Luc Van Ooyen, our reporter on location? Because I know he's a fan of another football club. He wasn't wearing one of these shirts?
No, he was. I think he was forbidden because he's a fan of Feyenoord, which is of course the big enemy. I don't know, but whatever. But Luke told me, I'm not going to be on this picture. I'm going to take this picture. So that's a sort of what happened there. But it was really nice. There was even this guy from the US. He was in that stadium. He said, "Oh, are you from Eindhoven? I used to work in Eindhoven on a very innovative business." So that was really fun. We had a really good time there. And if you go to the next picture, then you can see the visit. The visit of the Queen. We were about to show the Queen this car, and she was about to, drive in it. But unfortunately, as I told you, the car got stuck in New York. But she nevertheless, she was there and she listened to the team, and the team did a tremendous job in explaining to her and all the other. If you go to the next picture, all the other ministers who were there. There was Robert Dijkgraaf, who was our Minister of Science. I don't know what he is Minister of, but at least on science. And Ernst Kuipers, he was there, and you know what? The team offered him a mini 3D printed version of the ZEM. So,
was that from your production?
That's not from our production.
Oh.
We have a bit of a larger scale of 3D printers, but yeah.
So
I don't know who printed those.
I think it was a sort of an amateur, because it's just a sort of little toy. No, it's not an amateur in the bad sense of it, but it was just a small version of the car. Yeah. So, but they had a lot of them, and they are very loved. Huh? Everyone loves the small.
I have them as well.
Yeah. I want to have them, but I couldn't because. I hope to get.
I believe we have two. So maybe you can have.
I would love to have one. Yeah. And if you go to the other picture, Jelle, then. what we did. This is Richard also on the picture. We were there. This is this very big banner of the car as a sort of substitute for the car not being there. And what I really like, the team already visited and is going to visit high schools, elementary schools, middle schools. And for those kids, that is really important to see innovation from the Netherlands. And it's just not the car, but the team itself was already as from out of space, because they were asking the students like, are you coming? Oh, did you come all the way from the Netherlands? And what language do you speak there? So it is sort of really interesting for the students to have that experience with younger kids about technology.
And Richard Tebner, because he was talking also in the first episode about the whole new way of learning, fused learning, I think it's called. What does Richard Tebner do? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know. But because if you go to the next slide, what he does is sort of bring technology into the education scheme of schools, but in a way of challenge-based learning, I would call it. And it is like give kids the challenges and give them information, let them think for themselves, let them be as creative as possible. So what we're seeing here is he's got this whole scheme of all sorts of educational tools. He's doing that on different schools all over California. This is one of his schools, and not only is he giving the lessons to the kids over there, but he also makes it online so people can follow that. And he is I think one of the most dedicated people in that field. If you go to California.
Yeah, and I really like the whole new way of education in this way. Like, just let people do stuff and create stuff, and not just don't get too theoretical, but actually practical.
Yeah.
And let's just build stuff together. Actually, right now, this whole stream we're doing with students, video production students as well, instead of fully. How do you say it? Like graduated people, like from school on out, you can just work within the market and help students to figure out how the market works.
Yeah, and I strongly believe in it. And as Richard puts it as well, that especially in the sort of US form of education, I think it's different even maybe in the Netherlands, but in the US, it's very strict in all the lessons that you have to do. And he says, well, I want to have more creativity in the room. And how do you learn kids to be creative? Just give them all the space and all the equipment they want, and let them think about themselves, what they are interested in. And so he's not even keen. We were with former teams, we were there with small versions of, for example, Stella. And he said, well, I like doing it with the kids, but even that I found too much, into a sort of, you're put into a box to say, think about something with this content. He wants to have even a more free approach on education. And I really like the way that he's doing that.
Yeah, cool.
There's more pictures.
And he is a friendly guy who just invites 15 students.
No, but he's not only teaching them, because if you go to the next slide, Jelle, he's also teaching our kids. Oh well, this is one of his lessons. But if you go on with the pictures, well, this is of course a big picture of the whole team and his colleagues and teachers at that school. But we were at his home. The whole team was there, and he even, because we were eating pizza there. So if you go to the next slide, this is his pizza oven. But what he also does, and you see that on the next slide, is that he says to the kids, here you've got all the food, make the pizzas yourself. So he is like, the challenge-based learning is really there for him. And it was great that he just opened his house, and it was really nice for him to do that. And the kids really liked it, because, you're on a road trip, you do so many events in one day. There's a huge pressure on them. So it's good for them to be on a home basis. And there were dogs there, there was a little cat, and the kids could really be themselves. So that was really nice to have that.
Are there any more pictures left? Do we have anything more?
Oh yeah, this was what we organized. I'm chair of the Coast to Coast Foundation, and we sort of, we let companies and government and schools from the Netherlands and the west coast of the US, we make a connection for them. We've been doing that for 10 years. And so we believe if the team visits the US, I think they should visit schools, and they should visit universities, they should visit businesses, but we also should provide for them a sort of network of interesting people for the next phase in their their studies or careers. So one of the things was this was a sort of a high-level meeting in Sacramento with also, for example, business leaders from the Uber and other organizations, but also local ministers and people from the EU Climate Kick. And you can see here Louise, she's the team leader. And for them, it's also nice to see what sort of, how do people respond to their car, and how can, she's got questions about her own company or about her own team, and she can sort of reflect with those people. So we really thought it was important. And if you go to the next picture, this was a part of the. It was a very selected VIP meeting in that sense. And if you go to the next picture, I'm looking. The next picture is always not. This is on our road to LA, and we had a very nice route. It's a beautiful road from San Francisco to LA. This was Louise on their hotel room, because you know what she was doing. She was having a live interview with BNR News Radio.
Right.
Yeah, so there was lots of publicity for their car. They had interviews with Reuters and with New York Times and also with Dutch media. It was even on RTL news show during that week. So she was doing a lot on publicity as well. Just and I really like this. They were visiting. The whole team was visiting the University of Southern California, and this was really a good student team. It's a sort of a private university, like with very smart students, and they were sort of a similar student team. So all the engineers could really, with each other brainstorm about the difficulties and all the challenges. And 3D printing was really one of the questions they had. They said, "How did you do that?" And it was such a difficult design. How did you 3D printed it? So I'm very keen to hear from you what it was.
It took some attempts. It wasn't a success at the first try. So. Yeah, definitely. We've been working with the team since, I think, February this year.
Yeah.
March were the initial trials of the first prints. We had 3 failed prints. Then we had a redesign phase of 2 months again to finally come up with a eventual design as it is now. So surely it wasn't as easy as pressing a button, uploading a design file, and there you have your car. So.
Yeah, because maybe a short sidetrack to the 3D printing. I think we have a picture of you see the car with all kind of technical stuff, and I'm just trying to describe it to my tech team. Because here it says 80% of the car has been 3D printed. If I look at this picture, is it like the whole thing I'm looking at has been 3D printed, or?
I know for sure that most of the body panels, so the hood, the doors, the roof, those are all printed, not by us, but by a company which also has systems we provide. And then the monocoque itself, so like the internal structure, which gives the strength to the car.
The monocoque? You have to explain to me what that is.
It's like it's like the internal structure of the car. Like the body panels aren't that strong, so inside the car there needs to be a supportive structure that takes all the weight of the people driving in it, the motor and stuff. So that was also one of the challenges, because we have done prints on this scale, but not structural prints. So we had to make sure that it didn't fail while they're driving it. It had to be safe.
Yeah.
So that's where one of the biggest challenges came from.
Yeah, all right. And we're going to go back to you in 2 minutes, because first I want to finish the photo slides, because I think you were working up to this one picture that just wasn't coming.
It wasn't coming, but I think it will be. I hope it will be coming now.
Was it birthday?
This was we had so much fun. We know that Luke is the planner from the Astrolets, and he is having his birthday during the tour, but we never know when exactly. So we have had several times, and when we just had a celebration in a restaurant saying "Happy birthday to you, Luke," and still it's not his birthday. So maybe you know when his birthday is.
I do know. He doesn't want to tell his birthday.
No, I don't know. At least I don't know it.
Wait, let's just. I can see that they're standing over there. Let's click them in here. Look, you're in the show. What's going on? Why won't you share your birthday with the team?
No, I shared it, but nobody is remembering.
Actually, back
Everyone thinks
when
I'm always. It's my birthday.
But you will be in the Netherlands on your birthday, right?
Yeah. The tour is
Yeah.
the tour is already
Alright.
over when my birthday is.
So but they actually celebrated your birthday in America.
Yeah.
When I look at this picture.
Yeah, that was
Alright.
unexpected. Yeah.
Well,
But it was a beautiful evening, wasn't it, Luke?
Yeah, it was a nice evening, and it was a nice surprise.
yeah. So, are there any more?
Yeah, I
photos?
think there's another picture. I don't know, but maybe you can have a look. Oh yeah, I really like this picture because we were here joined by Jeff Joyner. He's one of the most important advocates for EV driving in the US. He was there in the 80s when Who Killed the Electric Car was present. He is really an interesting guy, and his role is not being someone in the innovation industry, but he's a lawyer. So his work is to pattern all important things. And he says, well, this is for all startup, it's interesting to have good patterns, because if you want to move on, that is what you are. And what we offered the team was sort of a talk with him 1 hour, just next to his home in Venice Beach in Los Angeles. And if we were there, sitting there, just talking, and I think it was a big present to the students to talk about what should we think about in our next phase if we're students, or if we want to start our own startup. What do we think about? What is important? And it was so. I thought it was very. I think it was one of the highlights of my tour to listen to him about all his adventures, because the whole electric movement with Tesla and with all the things being there started and is still going on in Los Angeles. So it was really interesting to go there.
Well, thank you very much for this whole experience, photo sharing story. And I think I can see how, from your perspective, also from the EV world, he must be an inspirational guy. Have you watched Who Killed the Electric Car?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you should totally watch it. It's really
It's
cool.
on Netflix.
It's on YouTube. You can see it. YouTube.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
you should really see it. It's really
all right.
interesting. Yeah.
And there are no questions yet about any technical stuff, so I'm just going to try my best and ask you guys some questions. So I'm going to add Philip in here as well. Hi,
Yeah.
Philip. Is your boss not angry?
No. He's not around here. He's in a different department. I'm lucky today.
All right, we'll keep it quiet. Yeah, we were talking about the 3D printing, and that pretty much also the outside of the car was 3D printed. Philip, you were also part of the design kind of things, side of things. I mean,
Yeah.
Was it hard to design a car that also needs to be 3D printed?
Yeah. The thing is, first you design a car, and then you find out what the limitations are of 3D printing, and then you need to redesign everything. And so the challenge basically was that you have a part, you need to flip it in a very strange angle. You need to calibrate if that can actually be printed, and you need to do that constantly again and again. And you will run into many errors, but especially Rien found some really clever ways to combine certain panels into one big block, and then we had to cut them separate again. But that way, it supported itself. For example, the fenders, front and back, are all printed all together in one big sort of box, because the printhead needs to travel in full circles. So by looking at those they seem very minute challenges, but every challenge is a small setback and a new opportunity to invent a new way to do stuff. So it was basically a huge challenge. And funny detail to me is I spent countless hours making sure the curve at the dashboard was perfect. We printed it out, you couldn't see it at all. So we just ended up freehand welding it together. It looks exactly the same, but I think I wasted 2 weeks working in SolidWorks splines. Yeah, that's just the thing that you find out, that not everything you put effort into is worth it, and you just have to be efficient, and you learn that along the way.
Yeah, but I can imagine, like, for a lot of people in the world, designing a car is not something I think is possible for me or anyone. This was your first car you designed, I guess, or no?
Actually, I have done an internship at a small car company called Caris before. They make tiny little cars, but that was never built. So this was completely different level. And being an industrial design student with a background in product design, it was a very big challenge because, as I like to say, like a hair dryer is a thing, but a car has more of a face, a soul, an emotion. When you look at the front of the car, it evokes a feeling that a hairdryer or a refrigerator does not. So evoking that is a very difficult challenge.
Oh, I have something to add. Ellen has something to add to that.
Yeah, no, not to add, but to ask Philip, because I was wondering. I heard that in the Formula E one, they use a lot of 3D printing. Did you learn from that part, or is it something else?
Yeah, the thing with these sort of technologies for performance 3D printing, they typically work with powders and a laser printer. So they have some sort of powder, they melt it together under super high temperatures. It's incredibly expensive. It's very slow. So for making a race car, a one-off thing, it's very good. But when it comes to upscaling, it will be very expensive and time consuming. So that is where our printing technique, which is more of a conventional technique, is basically a hot glue gun on a rail that moves like this, except ours is the ones we were able to use with our sponsors were much bigger. So when it comes to that, it's already being used, that's correct. But the method is still very different.
Oh, it's and yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just what I was telling you about this meeting we had with Jeff Joyner. You know, who's in the sort of the ecosystem, the smart mobility ecosystem in California, and he was telling two things about the car he found so interesting, which was the 3D printing and which was the CO2 filter. He said those are the two branches where, you know, in California there's lots of startups, lots of companies really being interested in. So I think you did a marvelous job in that, and the design looks really pretty.
Oh, thank you. It was definitely a team effort though. But yeah, I'm super incredibly proud of. I mean, it was in the New York Times. I think it's unbelievable. I don't believe it really happened, even though I saw it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Philip, from your point of view, like you were mostly on the design. What are you most proud of? Which part of the car, or a specific technical thing about the car, are you most proud of that you actually pull that off?
I'm gonna have to be really cheesy, and that is actually not the car we designed, but the team we formed. I think it's fantastic how much effort went in and how incredibly autonomous Max, Tuco, and Rino worked. Because even though I was chief design, I didn't really boss around. I didn't really tell them to go this or that. They came with ideas, we threw them all together. But in terms of the car itself, I'm really fond of the way the back end looks mostly. I'm not trying to objectify or anything, but the rear end is just, I'm super happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, well, I can see how, because it looks awesome. So it's a pretty insane car, and it's a cool team, and you guys all seem to enjoy it and are really proud of what you've done. And the whole world is watching, so yeah, you can be proud of that, of course. So that was it for now. We're gonna see if any more technical questions come in. So if you want to stay, please feel free. And I actually want to have a short conversation between you and Tuan from Seed, because I'm actually curious, like Tuan. They're also, and I think I'm going to call in the team in America as well, because I was told one of your roles is sometimes late at night. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Like I said in the start of the webinar, it's a relatively new technology, especially on this scale. And for the initial price, we wanted to print the car in one go. So we had a I think a total estimated printing time of around 70 hours, and then the whole car should be printed. And as they were kind of late, and we had a small, really fast deadline of when we wanted to deliver the print. We didn't have much time to adopt the model at the first place, so we knew there were going to be some challenging parts and bits. So the first try we did failed after, I think, 10 hours, and the second one, I set 2 alarms, one at 1 o'clock and the other one at 4 o'clock. And at 1 o'clock, we guided it past the point where it failed the first time. And then when we woke up at 4 o'clock to check again, to help it assist again, we found out there was a material blockage. So, not actually the print itself failed, but it had no material left. So that was quite a bummer.
Yeah.
And are you still in contact with the team right now? Do you still have to work out things over there? By the way, Philip, I'm gonna thank you for now, so you can work. So I'm gonna get you off the screen.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
So are you still in contact with the team right now?
I've been in contact with them at the start, so I knew about the delay of the car, that it was delayed in the port. But from then on, I had no messages from them, so I assumed everything was going well, and I saw the LinkedIn and the Instagram posts sometimes. So everything looked like it was still driving. So
What I'm interested in, if you do the 3D prints of the car, is it ready then, or do you need to sort of polish it and paint it afterwards? How does that work?
It depends. Like you can imagine that we print with a certain layer width and a layer height. So depending on how quickly you want to finish your print, you can adjust the resolution. So if you have a smaller layer height, it will be close to each other, and you'll more have like a finished product. I think for the monocoque itself, they didn't. They sanded it a bit for the parts they were going to glue together. But it really depends on the customer, how sometimes they like the 3D printed look, so they won't machine it down afterwards or polish it. Yeah. And sometimes they do, and they give the paint job. So I think like the body panels you see behind you, I think those are all polished and filled up with some plamuur. I don't know.
I don't know that. And one of what I remember from the students of the University of Southern California, they are building a car now. They're really interested in how the 3D printing went. But they also said, what about the safety of the car? Is the monocoque, is that how you call it?
Yeah, monocoque.
How do you see if it is safe enough to drive in?
That's one point of this technology which still needs to be developed further. Eventually, we want to have models which can predict the strength and the quality of the print, and we're working hard towards making that technology. But for now, the most we can do is make some assumptions, and from those assumptions and models we made, I think we deemed it safe enough to drive in for the team itself.
And maybe Bart, maybe you can join this conversation as well. Or is this something you can talk about?
I think that strangely enough for this team, the failures prove their point with 3D printing. For example, when you talk about like, hey, we have to redesign and redo it, one of the main advantages from my perspective is that when you're 3D printing, you can chop it up again and use it again. And the other kind of failure is like the boat was like stuck with the car on it, and 3D printing offers the possibility eventually to print cars like on location, so you don't have to ship it all the way overseas. You can actually print it. So actually by we of course as TUE we educate engineers, and engineers work by design, build and test, and the testing part is like if it doesn't work, you redo it. And actually this team proves with their struggles and their challenges, their choice of 3D printing is really valid and can really add to the future of automotive industry, I think. So it is not only the finished product that you see behind you, which looks really cool, but that are actually kind of the screw ups along the way that prove where the potential value of 3D printing as a technology is.
Yeah, and there's actually a question that is in line with that. And Philip, I'm going to add you as well, just to be sure. The question from Joey is, how strong is the body of the car? Have you guys done any crash tests or aerodynamic tests? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, actually, thank you for the question, Joey. We did do a lot of digital simulations, and again, I'm not exactly the guy to ask because I'm not a full-blown engineer, but we did do a lot of tests regarding the amount of weight you can hit with a certain speed, and how the fracture would occur, where it would occur, reinforcing it, iterating it. And we did do an aerodynamic test later on, because we were curious, but due to the really big time constraint, we did not build the car to be as aerodynamic as possible. So that would be a very nice thing for the next team to actually implement.
All right, pretty cool. And there was, but I think there was like another partner, Sorama, who did do something with sound and stuff, right? Do you know anything about that? What did they do?
What Sorama did, I actually cannot say too much about it. No, sorry.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
have no idea. Yeah, completely out of my league, you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But there is another question. Maybe you can answer that one as well, or the team. Which is, well, first of all, amazing invention. Congratulations to the team. But what is next for the team? Perhaps racing. What's the top speed, range? Some details.
Yeah. So the top speed and the range are not going to blow you away, to be very honest. I was the second person to drive it when it was fully working, and it had a software limiter on it. I definitely speeded over the TUE terrain. Sorry, TUE. I think I hit about 60. But again, it's software limited. It was pretty scary to drive in it because the hood wasn't fixed into place yet. We had to really wrap things up quickly later on. But as soon as it drove, we just wanted to drive it. It was 4 o'clock and it was the most fun almost I've had in my whole life. The range, I can look it up for you, to be honest.
All right. Yeah. Look it up.
But yeah, let's move on.
All right. There's another technical question actually. So maybe if you can multitask, feel free. But there's another question that says, how much average power in kilowatt? I think that means, right, Ellen?
Yeah. I think it does.
Right?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Does the car use in urban and highway driving? Do you have any clue?
Yes, I have here some nice figures. So the top speed we have had so far is about 70 kilometers per hour. It's now limited at 60. The range is about 70 kilometers, and the battery capacity is 24 kilowatt per hour. Or kilowatt hour. My knowledge of units is not what it used to be.
All right. But I think the one who asked the question will know what you're saying. Bart, I was wondering, because we were just talking about the design as well. Do you see yourself driving a car like this? If you look at ZEM, is this something you would drive?
Well, it seems a bit unpractical for me because if I drive a car, it's to bring my mountain bike somewhere. But I think the design is an important feature, also related to sustainability, because, well, some people, if we look at why people act sustainable, some people do it because they're told they have to, like you have to separate your garbage. Some people do it for the next generation, but also some people will be enticed to act more sustainable if things look like a car like ZEM or a car like Tesla. So I think we need everybody in changing the world for the better. And if and a design like this can really help to entice people to act more sustainably.
Yeah, I think it inspires, and I'm actually curious what effect this will have, and what the team will do next. And maybe I see the team is not here right now, but I want to ask them as well. Like, what after this when they come back? I think the car is going to the Dutch Design Week as well. Mathies Stalmer told us about that. But I'm really curious, what will the impact be after the tour? Do you have any idea of that, Bart?
Yeah, I think we can look at different teams that went before. And of course, we have the Lightyear team that took the whole concept of the solar car and turned that into a startup. But we also, for example, at the TUE had the Storm team. They built an electric motorbike, and they decided not to start a business with electric motorbikes, but they took part of that bike, the modular batteries, and turned that into a startup. And then there are, of course, all these students who take this experience and this great life experience, but also this technical experience, and go and work into industry and try to change industry from within. So I think there are 3 different ways, basically, to really make an impact with this car and with the experience and with the knowledge that the students got from this.
Yeah, and Ellen, actually, you would like to add something to that.
Yeah, I was, because I'm thinking about what you're telling, Bart, and I remember there was this meeting at the governor's office, I think in Sacramento, which is sort of the basic government in California, and there was one person, that saw this concept car and they said, well, what happens if I want to have 500,000 of them? Now it is really those questions are being told because it's such a great design, it's such an impactful that people really think, when can I buy this on the market? And we've seen Lightyear coming out there. So yeah, I thought, but of course the students were looking at her like, okay, that's not yet our main focus at this moment, but nice to know that there's a market for this.
Yeah, I see Tuan are getting nervous already, like 500,000 cars.
That's going to be a lot of late night alarms being set. No.
Yeah. Well, it would be really cool if that comes out of it. I think Lightyear is doing it as well, right? They're starting to sell cars as well now.
Yeah, they are. It's the Lightyear 2, which is even on sale now. So that was a great example. And yeah,
it must be so cool if you just design a car and you tour it through America, and before you know it, like a lot of people are actually driving that thing that you built.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how that must feel like, but that must be cool.
But that was one of the because you were telling me about this 70-hour work for the printing. When is sort of the break even for cars being produced on 3D or being produced in a big factory? What is?
I have not done those calculations. I think the team did some more economical things about printing the car and break-even points. But I don't know how much time it normally takes to design a car. I have a background in aeronautical engineering, so that was also my first car design phase and all these kinds of stuff. So
you're more into rockets, 3D rockets,
planes,
okay.
Well, I think last time with Madis, we dropped a little bomb about airplanes and stuff, and we asked what was possible. So maybe that comes to you.
It's even more conventional than the automotive business. Like everything needs to be really tight tolerances. So, and at this moment, we can not yet achieve that with 3D printing or our 3D printing technology. But
actually,
give it a few years and we'll be there.
Because we went to the, I think it was a big solar convention in Germany, and there was a guy who built his own electrical plane that could fly for, I think it was like 2 hours, not sure. So you see that starting up there as well. So yeah, before maybe I'll probably take like a year and it will take off. It's insane. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
You have lots to print. And I actually just got sent a video, and I'm just gonna keep all you guys here. I don't know who can react to this.
It's a extended race, so it's just for extension, and
So this is in Texas. Ellen, do you know where this is?
It's in Texas, but what I really like about it is to see the car between all those people. I think it's one of their events. They organize a lot of events together with NXP and Sorama, and seeing all these kids and people around the car, that looks pretty cool to me. And but I don't know exactly what it is. It's like
it says Texas, but so you like that it's just the vibe that you see people, the car, everyone's talking about it. That's the whole idea of the trip, right?
Yeah.
Because what is because we talked last time with Peter from Coast to Coast, but why is Coast to Coast so hyped about this event and helping this event? And you're pretty much planning the whole tour. What's in it for Coast to Coast? What's the goal?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we are there for, getting companies and schools and governments in contact with each other. We've done that since 2012, 2011, and it's good because in California and the West Coast, loads of things are happening. And at that time, we had EVBox and Greenflux, big Goudappel, big companies that wanted to work in the US, and and they wanted to set up shop there, and it's the best to do that with other companies. Since 2015, we have been doing this for the students of the TU Eindhoven. I know that you're from Delft, but maybe we can do it for Delft once as well. But TU Eindhoven is a partner from us. And I think it's showcasing the Dutch innovative systems. So, it's always a good talking stick if you organize events, that there is new innovation, so that people, if you want to have business events, there needs to be something there. So for us, it's important to sort of get the businesses together to get something to talk about. But we are also, for the students, I think we want to sort of be be sort of a unique opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity for students, that they learn something that we can, we've got such a big network in the West Coast that you just want to get them to know and see that, because they've been, for 1 year, they've been in Eindhoven making this thing. They've no clue about, how the world would respond. And it is so good for you to experience how people, perceive your project and what you've done. So for us, that is also one of the most important things to give the students a platform, basically.
Yeah, and I can imagine as a student, when you build something for a year and you go travel the world with it and you see how the world reacts to it, it also creates this mindset like, damn, I can make something and actually change the world. Like they really are changing the world. I think that also works just for your mindset. Like, all right, and now you have 50 more years. What you gonna do? Like, it also is a kickstart for the rest of their lives.
It's a kickstart and I remember when Lex Hoefsloot was in the US. We were there, and I think it was 2015. I don't know the exact time. 2014. He's the one from Lightyear, and we were at this this underprivileged school somewhere in the northern part near to Sacramento, and there were little kids there. There was this beautiful teacher, and she took care of the breakfasts for the kids because it's just a poor school. And Lex and the students and the team came there with the Stella. It was really like a spaceship out of space for those kids. And now we're 10 years, 12 years. Well, no, we're 10 years later, almost 10 years later. And you could see we're going there with the ZEM car as well. And you could see there's students that, were there when Stella came there, and they were 13, 14 years. And now they finished their university. So and it's so cool. And I think that also does that to the Dutch students, that, it is nice to be busy with something, to think about it, but there's also a world out there, and you need to send out a message. And I believe that with this diversity of visits, I think we are able to do that.
Well, it's all good vibes. I'm just getting hyped even more. I just want to go there and tour with them.
Next year.
I'll drive it. I'm fun. I am a
that
driver.
That is true, because you know how to drive. I think you would do that easily. Yeah,
because we actually drove to Oslo this year. Yeah, this year.
Yeah, in May.
In an electric car. And I always get complaints that I just like to drive 18 hours a day. But yeah, maybe next time I'll be the driver.
Definitely, yeah.
But let's stay in this vibe. If you have any more questions, we're here for 5-6 more minutes. So please let us know. Type it in your comment section on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and we can handle them. But first, we're gonna have some more vibes from Out America, because they're vlogging there as well. You can follow it on their Instagram. Nikki and Louise, I think, are like of the video team, and they are making sure that you can just follow their tour. And they send us some footage as well.
Guys, so we're in Joseman National Park. We're right now doing the Mistral. Pico, where are we going? No fucking clue. So we're going to some waterfalls, so it's gonna be great. Look at the view. So this is part 2 of the hiking trail. We've been hiking for 2 hours now. It's been great, the views are great, but it's also been exhausting. So yeah, that's about it. Hello guys, we are back. Today we are in the same day as for before. We are with beautiful tower over here. I know no name of tower, but it looks very beautiful. Very beautiful view as well. Here, look guys. Yeah, very beautiful. See you.
Well, I think they're having fun. I think that's the takeaway from this video. So they're making impact. They're visiting partners. They're showing it to educational systems. They're doing everything over there, and actually representing the Netherlands as well, which is pretty cool. That as the Netherlands, everyone is looking at us and our team. So we're really proud of those guys. We wanted to actually have them join in as well again right now. But they had to leave with I think with Richard to where they're going, right? Because there's actually a parade. Maybe do you know something?
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna be surprised today because there will be a marching band, and they have no clue. And they will visit an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school. And the high school we've already visited 2 weeks ago, without the car, and now we're coming with the car. So I'm really excited about the footage from that visit. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll hope to see that on the third and last episode of ZEM Goes USA Talkshow. And actually, Luc van Ooyen, our reporter, sent us this picture. They said, sorry, we had to leave. So they're driving towards the school right now, and where they will be surprised by some good music. Are there any more questions we need to handle? No. Paul just says, many thanks, good initiative. Well, Paul, we'll let the team know. And thanks for watching. I want to thank Philip. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope we didn't get you in trouble at work. Bart, thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining from the TU Eindhoven. And I think your work day is almost over. So thank you guys. Then I want to thank Twan, of course, from Seed.
Yes.
Seed.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and they're doing such a great job. And thanks for the team, of course, that your late night hours you're available as well.
It was a pleasure to work with them. So
all right,
all the good luck in the upcoming few days they've left in the USA.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear, and we all want to wish them, of course, good luck. Ellen from Coast to Coast, thank you as well. Anything to add to that?
No, I think I look forward to their last week at the West Coast. I really look forward. I'm following them on all the social media, and look forward to seeing them when they get back.
Yeah, because that's also a thing. Because we really miss Luke, of course, because he's from our team, and
we all miss him.
We're very happy that he's in America, but we miss him here in the Netherlands as well. And of course, because on the last episode, on the 10th of October, the whole team will be back. It's their first day back, so they will be jet lagged like hell. But we will all invite them here, have some pizza, have some beers, and just talk about the trip. So that's what you can expect on the third episode. And I see one last question coming in. And it says, wow, solar panels too. How long does it take to charge? So Philip, maybe we can ask you to answer that as the last question before we leave.
All these technical questions, I feel like I'm the wrong guy for this interview. But after fixing the solar panels to the roof, we basically put the car on the container, so I had no chance to experience how fast it charges. I know if you want to know more about the electric stuff, you can always ask Michelle or Kendall. They know a lot about this car, and they're in the Netherlands, so no jet lag. Feel free to drop them a message via LinkedIn or their socials if you have any questions about the electricity stuff, because honestly, that's way above my league in that realm. I'm a design guy, and outside of that, I know to keep my mouth shut.
All right. Well, thanks for naming the right people, and I hope GG1234 will find the right person. Thank you very much, Philip. So that's it. We're gonna leave, or did you? Was that? No, nothing. Yeah, then we're there. So 10th of October, the whole team, most part of the team will be here. Pretty much tired, I'm guessing, but it will be a fun day. If you have any questions, you can always let us know. Follow them on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And then I will see you on the 10th of October. Ciao.